All right, next up, the South Carolina Gamecocks. Gamecocks with the win tonight will be advancing to Stockton next weekend for the Sweet 16. Representing the Gamecocks tonight, head coach Dawn Staley, student athletes Kaela Davis and Asia Wilson. Coach, please make an opening statement.
We're just elated to be moving on and going to the Sweet 16. I thought we beat a very good Arizona State team that they gave us our best shot. And we're very fortunate to have played on our home court in front of our fans that willed us into another victory.
Open up for questions for just the student athletes at this time. Get Josh in front.
Kaela, as the fourth quarter started, you kind of looked to the fans and gave them a little, we got this clap. Did you feel that way at the time, or were you trying to convince yourself to some degree down by one at that point?
No, I mean, I think, throughout the whole game, you got to be positive. You can never put yourself in a position to feel down. So, I think we just kind of kept our heads down and really didn't look at the score and just fought back.
Ben.
For either of you guys, have you been in a game with those kind of swings and the stakes that you guys had today?
Game with those stakes. When you mean like stakes, you mean like lead changes and stuff like that?
You mean like?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. I feel like we've been in that situation before. I think even maybe not in games, but just in practice, I feel like we really prep very well for situations like that. We have different situations where we prep for things like that, and I think we were prepared. And also in the Tennessee game, I felt like that was another game that kind of showed us kind of how things kind of kept changing and stuff like that. So I think we handled it really well.
Josh in front.
Kaela, did you make a conscious decision to be more aggressive in the fourth quarter, or did it just the offense and the defense just come to you a little more?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's just you kind of have to find that balance of, when to take shots and, just when to be aggressive. But, I mean, that was the game plan coming in, just to be aggressive and attack the paint as much as possible, and try to get to the free throw line. So, shots weren't falling in the second half as much. So, I made an effort to try to get in the paint.
Jeffrey.
Asia, there were a couple of possessions late in the fourth quarter. The ball didn't get to you at all during the whole possession. Were you worried that it was that you weren't going to get the ball at the very, very nitty-gritty time, or did you figure they were going to find you eventually?
I just figured they were going to find me eventually. Our guards were doing a tremendous job of just putting the ball in the basket, and that's kind of what you need to win. So, I mean, I really didn't care about it, honestly. I just wanted to try to hold my end of the barrel and just keep going. And I trust them, and they trust me. And so I really wasn't worried. I just knew the ball was going to find kind of who needs the ball at that time. So I really was not worried.
Ben.
Asia, when you guys went down, you ended up taking, I think, 3 shots on the next 2 possessions. Did you basically know it's going to come to me and I've got to kind of make that play?
Honestly, no. I was just kind of out there, honestly, just having a good feeling with our guards. And I just knew, like I said, the ball was going to find who needed it at that time. And I just trust the system and trust the process and just went with it, honestly.
Greg in the back.
For both of you, with that last stop and that final possession, what was the strategy? What were you guys all focused on in those moments? And then when that final buzzer rang and you got that cheer from the home crowd, what was that feeling like?
I think the plan was just to get the ball. Honestly, I think I heard Boyer yell at me, scream at me, and it was like, "Get the ball!" I was like, "Okay, then. I guess that's the plan." And I mean, I think that was just a great feeling at the end, just kind of knowing that we went out with a bang here at the CLA, and just that's pretty much it. It doesn't get much better than that.
Same.
Any other questions for the student athletes? If not, they can go back in the locker room.
Okay.
Asia, you got something to say?
Bye.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
fun, Coach.
We appreciate it.
Locker room is open.
great.
For those who want to go down, the locker room is open.
Just get the ball. That was it. That was the end of the game. Just get the ball, right?
Open up for questions for Coach Staley. Got Ben.
Coach, Coach Thorne kind of said coming to this, she felt like her team was a bit underseeded and felt like this felt a little bit more like a Sweet 16 type matchup than maybe this early in the tournament. Do you kind of agree coming out of that game?
Well, I think they are a team that's probably much more deserving than a 8-9 seed. As you can see, probably across the board, the number 1 seeds and what they had to do in the talent level as far as their opponents. This team was a dangerous team because they got healthy. That's number 1. Number 2, they are a tournament-tested team. They always find themselves in a tournament. They play well in a tournament. And, quite honestly, I just thought the matchup was going to be tougher, more like, what the game ended up being like. I didn't foresee us going down by 11 points and having to claw our way back in, but I just thought it was going to be a really tough matchup for us.
Go to the back of the room.
Dawn, that fourth quarter, you had a 16-4 run to open up. They go on an 11-0 run to take the lead. Is there anything you would have to say in that huddle to that team to kind of get them back on track, or you guys been in enough situations where you really don't have to say as much?
No, I mean, you have to coach them through those times. I thought we just got less aggressive. I thought we had some turnovers and some 2 turnovers that, gave them some easy buckets. I just thought we just weren't aggressive enough, and we didn't get the ball in the people's hands that needed to get the ball to give us some good looks at the basket. And when you have a couple of trips like that down the floor, a team like Arizona State will make you pay for it, and they did.
Josh.
Did you think Kaela was more aggressive in the fourth quarter, or simply more things came her way?
Well, I thought we set her up. I thought she was the player in which we put the ball in her hands because we wanted her to drive to the basket. And her free throw shooting was pretty good. She was aggressive. And I didn't want her to just settle on taking outside shots. I wanted her to be aggressive, getting to the basket. So we were calculating in the type of sets that we wanted to run, forcing her to do so.
Was she less so in the first 3 quarters, maybe because of the big girl in there? Did you feel like she was timid or not as aggressive as you wanted her to be early?
Well, she only played 9 minutes in the first 2 quarters, which, she was, on the bench. So she was not aggressive because she picked up the early foul trouble. And then, the third and fourth quarters are when, we wanted to kind of get her going a little bit. She probably had, more fresher legs or fresh legs, considering, what everybody else played because she didn't play as many minutes. So we wanted to get her going.
From a season-long perspective, do she and Alicia bring something as transfers who haven't gone through these experiences with you before, bring any sort of value in terms of fresh eyes and fresh enthusiasm?
Well, I mean, they're battle tested. Maybe not in the SEC, but Kaela's been to the NCAA tournament. Alicia's been deep into the NCAA tournament. So, for us, it is a familiar place. It's just with different personnel. So it's they're not freshmen. They're kind of freshmen in our system, but they're not freshmen when it comes to the experience and the amount of game time that they've logged over the past 3 years.
Going into this game, you guys had those 4 guards to start, and you obviously wanted to push the tempo, which you did in the past game with UNC Asheville. Then in the first half, they were kind of able to keep up with the pace. What did you guys do to change the play, and how'd you fix that in the second half?
Well, in the second half, I thought we had to kind of go to a zone a little bit, and that gave them pause. It allowed us to turn them over a little bit, get some easy buckets in transition, and just disrupted them. I thought they did a great job, controlling tempo in the first half by, allowing us to shift the ball east and west versus north and south. I just think that we didn't have the speed that we needed to, attack them, and we just changed that in the second half.
Jeffrey.
Dawn, how is Alicia? Is she going to, after being carried off the court, how is she?
I'm going to see after I leave here. The doctors were actually looking at the video of where she, injured herself, and they're going to see what the plan of attack is to get her going, so she can help us next weekend.
And were you worried at times that even though Asia got her 20-plus points, that there were times that she just disappeared. There were times that it didn't look like they got the ball into her at all for several possessions in a row, especially the second quarter and maybe in the fourth quarter a little bit.
Well, I think when our guards are trying to make things happen, sometimes we don't have great balance, but they got us a lead. As far as it's a balancing act with our team, because we got great guard play, we got great inside play. I just thought that sometimes you got to defer a little bit and allow some people to forget about Asia a little bit, and then we can go back to her. And she came through in the end.
Greg in the back.
Coach, there's been no question of how battle-tested this team is, but how much will you reflect and refresh this for the team due to the immediacy of it as you guys continue this tournament path?
How will I reflect?
Just how will you continue to bring it up in terms of game plan, strategies, practices to get better as you move forward?
At this point, less is more. I think the less time that we spend on the floor, the more time maybe we spend watching a little bit of film to see where we can get better. Our numbers are down, as you can see, so we don't want to, put ourselves in a position where someone gets injured. So a lot of it is just, trimming the fat off our practices and just maybe working on 2 or 3 things instead of, a full practice. And I think they like it a little bit. They stay engaged a little bit longer. At this time of the season, you're not going to change much. You'll throw a wrinkle here and there, and that's what we did for this particular game. And we'll get ready to play the winner of Miami and Quinnipiac, right? Did I pronounce that right?
Yep. Ben?
Coach, when that final horn sounds after a game that was just as back and forth as that, is the feeling relief, or is it kind of something else?
Well, it's relief. It is, elation. It is, being battle tested and winning another war. And it is thankful. I'm thankful that we got a chance to play at our place, because I don't think the results, and I say this a lot, I think the results would be different if we're at another gym, but that's what we play for. We play, a tough non-conference schedule. We take care of business in conference. We take care of business in the SEC tournament. And when you do that, you afford yourself to win, a tough basketball game like this at home.
Jeff?
Coach, there in the third quarter, Asia picked up her third foul, and then a few minutes later, both your post players were in foul trouble. How worried were you at that point, and what did you have to do to overcome that?
Well, I don't get worried, because I think we have enough to get through a game. What you do is you just have to change your, how you're substituting. You probably need to just have one of them on the floor just to balance out the fouling situation. But then in the end, I thought we did a great job at inserting Kiki to match up a little bit better on their traditional post players, and it worked out.
With the back.
Coach, with the game being as physical as it was, and with the lead changes going back and forth and the emotion, just talk about the team's poise and just staying in the moment and being able to, just remain composed throughout the final minutes.
Well, when you're playing at home and you've been in this situation before, we didn't fret it. I think in our huddles and our timeouts, we just told our players this is where we needed to be. We're right where we need to be. Now you just have to take care of the broken plays, the 50-50 balls, the hustle plays. If we can and the rebounding, if we can take care of those things, we're going to get good looks at the basket. We're going to make some shots. It's just those those loose balls and those hustle plays are going to be the difference maker.
Last question in the back.
Fourth Sweet 16 for this program, straight Sweet 16 for this program. I know this run is just different than it's been the last 3. Can you just kind of reflect on, the difference with this team this year versus how it was in the last 3 runs?
I guess the difference is it's different personnel. The fact that we're able to do it, 4 years in a row, and this particular one just having, at this time, 4 different starters. Only Asia's the only one that's played and that's experienced that. and for our team to come together and be resilient, to work through injuries, to work through playing out of position, to put us in this position. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, you're talented. Yeah, but doesn't mean it always has to work out. You know, everybody has to do their part, and everybody has to embrace their role in order for it to work. And for us, and our coaching staff does a great job at putting our team in a position to compete and get back to this point. And, you know, it feels good. I mean, it feels good to get back to the Sweet 16.
With that, we'll wrap it up. Let Coach go back to the locker room. The locker room is open for a few more minutes if you want to go down there.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.